What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I'm here today with the review for Black Lightning. This is season 3. It's the Book of Occupation. It is chapter 3, and it's titled Agent Odell's Pipe Dream, which he sold a lot of pipe dreams in this episode. So, you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump into the video. All right, you guys. So, what I'm gonna try to do is go character by character. So, the episode we saw Khalil. So, just like with the first episode of this season where they were questioning the metahumans about their abilities, if they taking green light and things like that, we also see Khalil. Khalil has been questioned, but Khalil has been questioned about the type of martial arts that he knows how to do. So he's telling what he knows how to do. We see him fighting with people, demonstrating that said martial arts skill that he's learned. And then we also see later in the episode where Odell went to Khalil and, he tells him that he needs his help to take out the Markovians because they're a threat to them at this point, which I think Odell is just really at this point just using the I wonder if Odell is just like using the Markovians to disguise what he's actually doing, which I think that's what is going on. And, he tells them they're going out to hunt the Markovians. So we do see Khalil. He's on his killer mission of hunting down the Markovians. He's taking out Markovians left, right, 1, 2, 3, right jab, left jab, he just knocking them out one by one. And like I said, I just wonder if this is Odell's way of, deflecting the attention from him, since we remember episode 1 when Issa, was talking to Tobias about what's in the briefcase. And the briefcase has information that Odell is actually in Freeland to round up all the metahumans to, train them kind of like super soldiers to fight for them. But POTUS can't be found out. So I wonder if that's what Odell is doing, just taking people off of his trail by saying Markovians attacking Markovians, doing this, Markovians are doing that, Markovians. I think that's what Odell is doing. Pretty positive about that. All right, so next I'm gonna talk about is Henderson. So we see Henderson, and he's at that holding camp where they have the metahumans at. And he's checking on that one officer that they took in last week's episode. And I didn't review last week's episode because last week's episode really thoroughly confused me. So I was just kind of confused. But, he's with her. And he's trying to, calm her down, make her believe that he's going to be able to get her out of there. And she tells him that there's something going on around there and that she doesn't know what it is. And, he was like, you could have told me that, about all this stuff. He says, no, I couldn't have, because she said, I didn't want to bring you in. I didn't want to involve you in any of this. So, she says to him, she didn't want to put him in. So then she also tells him that, she has this safe deposit box, and I'm guessing she stole money from someone, and she says to go get the money and take it to her husband. So then she falls out and starts having what looked like she was having a seizure. But then her skin, it looked like her skin was eating itself up. I'm like, oh my God, like a flesh-eating bacteria. Like my skin started to crawl, and my skin is actually starting to crawl just a little bit right now talking about this. But, it was just weird to see her skin like eat itself up. So then, we also see Henderson, he's with Anissa. So the officers are being tested to, see if they're metahumans or not. And Henderson is talking about this is not good. And, Anissa's like, oh, so what's the difference between your officers and, the regular people of Freeland that have been subjected to this for the last month? So, yeah, what's the big difference? And then we also saw Henderson. So he's with his wife, Beretta, and he's telling her that, actually, before we go to that, Henderson himself had to get tested, to make sure he wasn't a metahuman. And then, ew, that blood. So then also, like I said, he was with his wife. And he was telling her how he feels like he is letting down the people of Freeland. And she's trying to uplift him, telling him, no, you good. But then there's this older lady that comes up to him. And, she's going off on him about, how the city is being ran right now. And he says, he's trying to do everything he can to get everything back to, peaceful. She's like, this, you call this peaceful. And then, excuse me, and then she slaps him. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, you can't blame him for this. Like, this, she's talking about, he's no better than the white people. She's thinking that we got a black person in, so now things are going to be good. And I hate when it comes down to black people that we think because there's someone black in office that they can, eradicate so much stuff, do so much. Yeah, they make a lot of promises. They can't always come through with those promises. And there are still people that they have to answer to get those things taken care of. So we can't expect everything. Like, I'm like, really, you can't expect everything to be, just taken care of miraculously. It takes time. So then we lastly see Henderson. Henderson goes to the officer's husband, and he gives the officer, well, the husband, the money that she wanted Henderson to give to her. And that's it for Henderson. All right, so next we're going to talk about Odell, Lynn, and Jeff. So we see Odell. He goes into the room where Lynn and Jeff are, and he's telling them that a virus has broke out in the camp, and he needs Lynn's help. And Lynn is not receptive to, and neither is Jeff. And the thing is, I don't get is why can't Lynn see through Odell, much like what Jeff does? Like, I mean, from last season, Lynn knows that Odell is not to be trusted. So he says that, you know what, if you help me, he'll do everything in his power he can to address, Lynn's concerns. And Jeff says no. What you need her for is you can't afford to lose any more metahumans, and he agrees to that. And then Lynn asks him, so what are the symptoms? So then we didn't see anything from there. But then we later saw Odell. He goes into Jeff's room. So he's telling Jeff that they believe that Dr. Jace, the crazy lady from last season, they believe that she is outside of the perimeter with some Markovians. And then he tells Jeff that they sent the ASA on a recon mission, but they've been abducted, and then they sent another group in there to find that first one, but they got abducted as well. But before they were abducted, one of the guys was able to leave. He lost his tracking device, so they pretty much think they know where the agents are. So then Odell gives Jeff a black box, and Jeff is like, "What is this?" So he tells him, "Open it." He said, "Oh, it's a watch." He says, "Shock it a little bit." He says, "Oh." It also tells me the time. He says, "Give it some more, give it some more." So then Jeff starts to give it a little bit more, and Jeff's new suit materializes on him. I'm like, oh, all right. I love that suit. So then Odell tells Jeff, he can stop the Markovians. I'm like, he's playing a slippery slope game. Like, I just don't understand. So then we do see Lynn. She's in her office, and she's telling Odell that the virus is man-made and it has mutations that she created. And the only other person who really knew about that was Dr. Jace. So then she says, it's possible that, it got into the camp by that other meta that was in there in episode 1 that they killed. So she thinks that meta infected the others. And I'm like, oh, okay, it makes sense now. So then we do see Jeff. So Jeff goes on his mission that Odell sent him on. And he takes out the Markovians, and then he saves some of the people that he was there to save. And then one of the ladies, she's asking, where's Dr. Jace at? He's like, I'm here to save you. She's like, yeah, but we're here to take out Jace. And so then they go trying to find Dr. Jace, but Dr. Jace is nowhere to be found. I'm like, surprise, surprise. I just wonder how much of this is Odell's doing. Like, it's something about Odell. Like, he's behind this. He has something to do with all of this that's going on. I don't know how much he has to do with it, but he's behind this in some way. Mark my words on that one. It's just too coincidental. Like, he's sending everybody after the Markovians. Pretty much in this episode, everybody has gone after the Markovians because of a pipe dream he's selling them. So we're just gonna keep it moving. All right, so now let's move over to Jennifer. So we see Jennifer. She's at school talking to one of her little friends. And then there's a new kid in the school by the name of Brandon. And he comes up looking for, I'm looking for Jennifer. Yeah, do anybody know Jennifer? And her friend was like, that's her right there. So he's like, yeah, they told me that if I found you, that you can give me a tour of Garfield. She was like, okay. So then she does give him a tour of Garfield. She's telling him, oh, my ex-boyfriend, he killed people right there. Oh, Tobias took my boyfriend's spine out right here. Oh, this happened right, me and my sister, we were held captive right here in this room. So she just telling him everything about Garfield. He's like, wow. Because he also asked her, why were there so many guards around there with the guns? She said, they're here for our protection. He was like, oh, okay, if you say so. So then we see Jennifer. Jennifer went home. And as she walked in the house, who was there waiting for her? Odell. What did Odell want? So Odell in this one was a clear line. Because Odell told Jennifer, he told her part truth but part lie. Because he told her that Nichelle is dead, who was Khalil's mom, but he didn't tell her that Khalil was the one that killed her because he sent Khalil to kill his mom. He tells her that the Markovians did that, and she asks him, "How do you know about this, anyways?" He says, "Because we have surveillance." So what he wants is for Jennifer to use her ability to find a data farm where what the Markovians are using as a command center. And I'm like, oh wow, like Odell is really, really using these Markovians to push his agenda forward. What he's doing, like mask what he's doing by saying it's the Markovians doing this when it's actually him. So then we do see that Jennifer finds the data for him, and then Odell tells her to take it out, which she does. And I'm like, wow, like Odell is just going to each and every person in this episode and using them to his advantage. I mean, it's good and sneaky, but dang, nobody. Only person who does not trust Odell is Jeff. Jeff is the only person that doesn't trust Odell, and I'm like, why can't nobody else see through Odell? Like Odell is transparent, very transparent. But we're gonna move on. Okay, so then we see an agent Tobias. So looks like one of the nurses trying to give him his medicine, but Tobias is not really receptive of his medicine. So then we see Odell comes in there and he's talking to him, and he told Tobias was like, "Did you take Issa out?" And he was like, "You only have to say it. I know you did because I do the same thing." So Odell tells him that he needs Tobias to work with him and tell him where he can find the briefcase. And really and truly, he didn't. I mean, he threatened Tobias, but when he walked out of there, he opened up. He was talking about, "Oh, I'm gonna give you some sunlight," and it was the UV lights. And with Tobias being albino, that burned his skin. He's like, you need to be more melanated. I'm like, wow, what a ass. I mean, I don't even like Tobias, but damn. I mean, I guess Tobias is getting what he deserves. So then we later see Odell. He goes back to Tobias to apologize to him, and he's ready to make an offer to Tobias. So what he tells Tobias is he'll let him out and help him reclaim his territory. And Tobias is like, okay, I want my territory, but I also want money. And so Tobias tells him, so let me think about this. The answer is no. Like Tobias wants his territory plus money, and Odell is just trying to give him his territory, not the money. So until Odell cracks down and gives Tobias some money and his territory, there's no deal at this point. So you can see your way out of out of this holding cell, this prison, whatever you got me in. See your way right the hell out of the door. So now we're gonna move on, you guys. Cause all right, so we see Anissa in this episode. So Anissa went home. Don't know what she was doing the night before, but Jim was like, "Where have you been? Like, you don't even call or text me?" Right. She's like, "You know what? I was with my friend Jamila, but the next time I will text you and let you know what's going on." So then we later see Anissa. She's dressed as Blackbird, and she's being chased by somebody. The ASA, and then we also see Jamila, following in behind, reporting. I'm like, girl, didn't they just ban reporting last week, but you still reporting? And she texts Jennifer, let her know she's gonna be late coming home. So then we also see Anissa in this episode. She runs into Grace, and she's telling Grace how much she loves her and that she wants to be with her. And then Grace tells her that she's basically tired of running. And Anissa says, "Well, why don't you stop running? Like, I want you. Like, come home with me." And then Grace does her shape shifting into that man, and she's like, "Ooh." And she's like, "See, that's what I'm talking about." She's like, "No." She says, it just caught me off guard." She's like, "But can you turn back into Grace?" And she does. So I guess we're gonna see Grace and Anissa, Grace and Anissa with each other. So then we also see Anissa. She tells Jamila that she found Grace and she can't be with her. But she's like, "Can we be friends?" She's like, "I don't really know about this." She's like, "It's okay. Like, I'm not gonna try anything with you. My feelings are not hurt. We're good." So she says, "Okay, then we good." So then, you guys, to close the episode out, so we see Odell. He goes to Lynn and Jeff. He tells them that they're free to go home to be with their girls, but again, Jeff still does not believe anything that Odell is saying. And I'm like, thank you, somebody sees through Odell. And then we also saw Tobias. So Tobias was in his, I guess, cell or whatever you want to call that. And I'm like, Tobias, are you losing your mind? Because he think he's talking to Jeff, aka Black Lightning, talking about he gonna beat his black ass. I'm like, okay, Tobias. Tobias has lost his mind. But you guys, that was the episode of Black Lightning. Be sure to like the video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification button so you guys know when I drop anything, and also share the video. And I will see you guys later.